because we play at different eras. So when you try to equate who's the greatest of all time, it's an unfair choice. But for me, I think they're both great. I would never say one is greater than the other. So when I got out of basketball, I really didn't know what I was going to do in terms of ownership. I was presented an opportunity to be a part of a ownership in Washington from a general manager standpoint. With that came an education of understanding what it took. If you look at all my portfolio of things that I'm involved in, my strongest passion outside of the ownership of the Hornets is the Jordan brand, because I can impact that in a much greater sense. To be able to talk to that consumer, interact with that consumer. It's not a draft. It's not dependent on how the season ends to determine if I have a draft pick in the first 12 or 13 picks. If I had to pick of all the things that I'm involved in, the most important is the Jordan brand, because it is my DNA. It is who I am. With the Jordan brand, it is successful because I can impact it. How often do you see the symbol of the brand, an icon that can communicate and say what I think or impact that product? You're going to understand you're going to make mistakes. The most important thing about making mistakes is being able to learn from them and not be able to duplicate the same mistake. I didn't have the experience of ownership. I knew what it took, but the knowledge in terms of being able to transition from a basketball player who could impact a game and determine the outcome to where now you sit up in the office and have not the same control. You have to be able to live vicariously through the players that you select, which sometimes you're going to make mistakes. And with that mistakes, you got to be able to make adjustments. They're not teaching the kids, and the kids then, by the time they're not useful to the agent, now have nothing, no decision-making knowledge. A lot of times they may end up broke. They mismanage their money. You can avoid some of those problems, especially when you talk about the kids are skipping college and going to the pros. Where are they going to get that education from? The best support system they have is the agent. So if the agent's not going to educate them, you tell me they're going to learn, the pros and cons about being independent and being able to manage their own finances. So when they are not represented by that agent, or they're out of the game of basketball, out of the game of football, can they still articulate and make decisions that's, from a business sense? I think that's one of the major issues. And you see a lot of players who, when they retire, they have no money. But the other people who are afraid to do things because they're worried about the perception that may come from other places. The best news in today that sells is negative news. And not that I live in a box to where I'm afraid to do things. As my father says, the what if comment is to be able to deal with the consequences of what decisions you make. In 1990 or 2005, they voted me as most popular athlete. It's ironic that I'm the youngest of the three. If you ask 20 years from now, I'm pretty sure LeBron may beat me. It is what it is. I don't wear it. I don't showcase it. I don't rub it in other people's faces. Someone else's opinion. If you ask me, I can never give you an opinion about things like that. But Jack and Tiger never played against each other. They never played in the same tournament. They never played with the same equipment. They never played with the same, length of golf course. I never played against Will Chamberlain. I never played against, Jerry West. To now say that, one's greater than the other is being a little bit unfair. I won 6 championships. Bill Russell won 11. Does that make Bill Russell better than me and make me better than him? No.
The hardest thing with Kobe was getting him to stop.
Yeah, okay, take a break, rest.
Yes.
Take the day off.
That was the most challenging thing with him, because over all the years that he had his success, it was about go, go, go. And then when I came on, I was the complete opposite. I got to get you to stop. His 3 a.m. workouts, they're
crazy.
Having to keep the Staples Center open later because he wasn't happy the way he performed at that game. And I would not leave till he would leave.
Really?
Yeah. So we would be in the arena sometimes 2, 3 o'clock in the morning.
Shut up.
All the lights are turned off except on the court, and we just keep going. We just keep going.
What is the mindset of winning? They both had that.
So I look at it 3 ways. So you have individuals that compete. A lot of people that compete.
Yeah.
we all know how to compete. Everybody knows how to compete. You don't forget how to compete. We just decide not to anymore. But a lot of people compete just to finish. Then there's individuals that win, but they only win one time.
It's easy to win and then never win again.
And then there's people that win at winning. You can't come back the same. You cannot come back the same. You have to come back different. You have to come back better. Winning wants you to be different. Winning requires you to do different things. Winning requires you to think in a different way. Winning speaks its own language. Winning has its own way of recognizing you. Winning wants you to write your own story. Stop looking for steps. Those steps are infinite. Find your own path to winning. Because as the late, great Kobe Bryant said, winning is everything. Winning is not about the trophy and the accolades. It's about the grind. It's about the obstacles. It's about the challenges. It's about the pain. The reason I know so much about winning is because I've had to deal with so much losing. Everybody wants to win, but in order to know how to win, you got to know how to lose, because you're going to lose more than you're going to win. But what do you gain from it?
You've trained some of the greatest of the greats, Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, Charles Barkley, Dwayne Wade. So you know something about winning. You know something about sustained winning over time.
Your mind has to immediately shift back, because now you felt and tasted something that you can only get through winning. Are you willing to do it again? And that was one of Kobe's favorite words when it related to winning. He says, you have to be obsessed with whatever your win is. Be all in. 3 greatest lessons I learned from Michael.
But I went in the trainer's room, my kids are in there, and, they're looking at you and stuff, and I'm looking at them, and I'm like, it's all right. Dad's going to be all right. It'll be fine. It'll be all right. It'll be all right. It'll be all right. As a parent, you got to set the example. You got to set the example. This is another obstacle. This obstacle cannot define me. It's not going to cripple me. It's not going to be responsible for me stepping away for the game that I love. I'm going to step away on my own terms. And that's when the decision was made that, you know what? I'm doing it. I'm doing it. You're a freaking beast, man.
Your dreams and thoughts better be so big that they better scare you. They better scare you because you're not thinking big enough that you don't want it. It has to be something that nobody else has thought about before or done before. The process it takes to be number one and stay at number one, you have no idea. Very few people understand what winning and success does to an individual's mental health. Everybody wants to sit in your seat until they have to sit in your seat. But it takes a special individual, and there's very few people that can do that. I always say this, the most driven individuals, they live a life for many years and certain times without balance. Everybody strives for balance, balance, balance. And in order to be that obsessed with something over and over again, there is going to be times where things are going to be out of balance. It just is. You can't be the best at something and try to balance everything else around your life. You don't find balance, you create it, and it's different for every individual out there. The balance I've created may be completely different than the balance you've created. And there's certain times in your life that the scales are definitely going to be weighing towards one side more than the other. In early part of Kobe's career, there was about basketball and winning, about basketball and winning. And towards the end of his career, it became less about winning. It was still about basketball, and it became more on spending time with the family. But you have to surround yourself with people. You have to surround yourself with people, with individuals that would be selfish for you. They understand your obsession. They understand your drive. They understand your attention to detail. Make sure you're all in. Your obligation to yourself to be the best, to achieve the highest level, has to be greater. The pressure you put on yourself has to exceed anybody else's pressure that puts on you. You got to start winning. It's a mindset. Before you have an exceptional skill set, you have to have the right mindset. You have to have a great mindset. The stronger your mindset is, the greater your skill set is going to be. They got to want it. It's what fuels you. What's fueling that desire? Individuals that can control it, harness it, acknowledge it, know how to use it. It takes them to a completely different level. You have to win with all of you. Everybody can handle pressure. You know what? Most people decide not to.
But why is it worth it?
Because the results are so good. I have to be at my best to win.